When you decide to make a belt that represents a championship, it should have some things that contribute to expressing the identity of the championship, but unfortunately, some belts didn't do that. The winged eagle is considered an icon in the wrestling world, a professional design that expresses the golden era of wrestling. But some minds can turn a masterpiece into absolute trash, and that's what happened with the hardcore belt. To express power and risk, creativity led to presenting a version of the World Championship belt wreckage. You don't need artistic taste to learn that the design is a disaster by all standards. It doesn't matter who carries it or what he did during the match, because you can't cover the credibility of someone carrying a piece of trash on his shoulder. By the way, trash is not just wreckage. For example, colors like black and silver are good, and some beautiful things can be done. But the WWE ECW belt had a different opinion. Originally, the ECW belt was very fitting and expressive of the Federation's identity, but what WWE did only indicates spite and jealousy. When they decided this design was better than being the lower class belt in the Federation, they decided to turn it into a belt that expresses that view, using silver instead of gold to express the second tier in the Federation, and this design was not laziness but deliberate vandalism. But if we want to mention laziness, I think the Universal Championship belt is the appropriate expression. When a new belt was announced for Raw, everyone was excited, but the result was a disaster. The big event was a remake of the WWE belt with the black color changed to red. This design disappointed the audience, and things got worse when it moved to SmackDown and they changed the red color to blue. Damn it. From my point of view, this belt has a bad history, from being monopolized by Roman and Lesnar in the part-time era to people who don't deserve the championship, to a custom design that is the worst in history, so this belt definitely has a lot of flaws. Speaking of custom designs, the Rated R belt is considered one of the designs that can be described as bad, and that's the point. During the feud between John Cena and Edge, Edge was being set up as the biggest villain in the Federation, and while cementing the term, the Rated R Superstar, they decided to make a belt with a custom design, and the goal was to make you hate the character and the design at the same time. And despite the idea's success, the design was actually bad, but it won't be as bad as what happened to the tag team belts. Originally, the tag team belts in the Ruthless Aggression era were literally a work of art. But the company decided to make a new design, and the result was forcing us to watch wrestlers walk to the ring carrying a huge metal coin on their shoulders. I've tried to understand the reasoning behind this design, but I couldn't come up with anything. There's no justification for this creative disaster. You gotta understand, a championship belt's design is crucial. It gives the champ some serious swagger and presence. I mean, you can't take a dude seriously if he's toting a belt that looks like it was designed by a 5-year-old, you know. So, let's get to it, the best championship belt designs in wrestling history. Alright, let's kick it off with the OG, the classic Big Gold. Back in the 80s, NWA dropped a masterpiece that still holds up today. This belt's got that special something that gives any wrestler instant charisma. It's like a work of art wrapped around their waist. The crazy part, it doesn't look outdated, even after all these years. Anyone who straps this belt around their waist looks like a legit champion, whether it's a legend like Ric Flair, Sting, or Hogan, or modern-day superstars like Orton or Cena. This design is truly timeless. It elevates whoever's wearing it to iconic status. Fast forward to the present, and AEW's got the best championship belt design in the game. With a balanced design and pro-level detailing, it's a real showstopper, the perfect combo of sleek and bold that'll grab your attention. Speaking of attention grabbers, have you seen the old WWE tag team belts from the Ruthless Aggression era? That design is flawless, simple color scheme to differentiate Raw from SmackDown, and it's a work of art. You could put it in a museum, no joke. Any team that straps these babies around their waists instantly becomes legit. They're not just two dudes, they're champions. Talkin' champs, let's bring back the nostalgia, John Cena's iconic spinner belt. Some wrestlers hated it, said it turned the title into a toy, but for me, it was the ultimate fave back in the day. But if I had to mention the toys, I think the Cruiserweight belt was designed by someone who wasn't older than 5 years old, with a purple and silver color. One of the worst designs in history was produced. Imagine striving to get a world championship belt that looks like this. The design wasn't just bad, it was cheap, as if the designer didn't bother to put in the effort to design something that gives value to the wrestler instead of diminishing him. Imagine looking at a piece of art and not being able to picture that this masterpiece was, in the beginning, a creative disaster. The NXT belt, before it looked the way it does today, had a design in the past that was a disaster by all measures. You really can't understand how crimes like this against wrestlers get approved. A championship belt should have a kind of prestige and charisma that it adds to the title holder, but unfortunately, some designs end up breaking the wrestler's prestige and make him look like a joke.